Well, it's another year. Same old story. You know, when you're a fan of the Buffalo Bills, you supposedly become used to all the disappointment. But it always seems as though you just wish the next year would just be better one that they can advance. I mean, it always seems as though the divisional playoffs now is the roadblock, and Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City seems to be the roadblock. And by the way, why did we have Taylor Swift there? Of course, her other half makes 2 touchdown catches, does a couple great things. Why do we always have to see her reaction there? And why did we have to have her in Highmark Stadium in the first place? Of course, we got to extend hospitality to her, and I want to extend my hospitality to her too. That's exactly what kind of hospitality you should have gotten. But I digress. The divisional playoffs seem to be the high mark now for the Bills. What can we do to do with the camel? Get over the hump. Of course, tomorrow is hump day. That's the camel's favorite day. But again, I digress. You're a fan of the Buffalo Bills. You gotta be used to all of this. Another loss, and it just seems as though Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City have taken the place of Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. In the regular season, we can get the better of them. But in the playoffs, we can't get past them. They're the roadblock. What can we do to get past them? That's what we got the next 6 months to figure out. Plus, a pretty big number there. We got to get there on the salary cap. Supposedly, it's a $43 million gap we got to close. Knowing Brandon Beane, who's one of the savviest and shrewdest GMs. He's got to figure out some way, because, heck, I kind of think a lot of Allen's salary is going to be converted to something. Maybe Von Miller might get the boot, but of course we'd probably have to eat a big dead money cap hit. And I don't think Buffalo wants to do that. But we got to make some moves. It's going to be a very uncertain off season. And Brandon Beane's got to crunch the numbers. $1.50. $1.50? That's without tax. Oh, I was pretty good with arithmetic, but who knows? Maybe my calculator needs to be fixed. But Buffalo, yeah, great run. But we got to figure out some way to get over the hump. And as I said, a lot of uncertainty. Thank you for the ride. And I am a Bills fan till I die. But you got to be a fan of the Bills. You got to deal with the disappointment. And as Marv Levy said, quoting one of his favorite writers, we may have lost, man. We'll just sit and bleed a while. But we'll get up and fight on. And that's what we're going to do. Fight on, guys. Well, I'm going to go talking from them to talking about the rest of the playoffs. Going to be 2 interesting championship games coming up. The AFC Championship will be Kansas City versus Baltimore. And right now, Baltimore is playing some pretty good football. They're almost unstoppable. I can't see Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City defeating Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. It'll be an interesting matchup, but I think Lamar Jackson and the Ravens have got the Chiefs covered. For the NFC, it's a different story. 2 teams I'm keeping an eye on. San Francisco, they're at home. Plus, they got a quarterback who supposedly is Purdy. Just like me. But you know what? Just like me, he's ugly as hell. Who knows? Thing is, my heart is a little bit with San Francisco because of a friend of mine. Oh, wrong way. There we go. Yeah, I don't want my head to be cockeyed. I just didn't like the way it looked there. A friend of mine who's a 49er fan is battling cancer. But I'm also rooting for the Detroit Lions. If there's any more team that's more star-crossed than Buffalo, it's Detroit. They haven't won an NFL title since 1957. They haven't been to the NFC Championship since 1991. And Detroit has had a long, great history with its team, but it seemed as though in the past, Detroit, they've had a lot of tough luck. They've had some great players, especially Bobby Lane and Alex Karras. Mungo, Candygram for Mr. Mungo. But hey, Detroit, if there's any team that's more deserving, if there's any city that's more deserving of having a good run by its NFL team, it's the Motor City. Detroit, Cleveland, Buffalo, all of them share similarities in a lot of ways. All three of them important cities on Lake Erie. All three of them former big industrial hubs. All three of them have been in the doldrums a lot with their economy. Detroit definitely has it. Still has a little bit of clout because of the auto industry. But other things for Detroit have come and gone. And there's swaths of the city that definitely need repair because they've been abandoned. Hell, the Packard plant is still standing nearly 70 years after it was abandoned. But I digress. Detroit, my heart's with you. I'm hoping that the Lions can make it to the Super Bowl. And with one of their wide receivers, who's one of three brothers who all have Egyptian names. How do you like your almond? Raw? Well done. I digress. Let's go Detroit. Let's go Baltimore. That's who I'm thinking is going to be in the Super Bowl. I'm hoping. And let's go from talking about the NFL playoffs to talking about Syracuse in two sports. First, the basketball team continuing its pretty decent run, especially with a great last-second victory via Kadir Copeland, a three-pointer, over Jim Boeheim imposter Jim Larrañaga in Miami. And two important games this week. Tonight against Florida State and Saturday against North Carolina State in the Dome. Both of them pretty good ACC foes. And we'll see what Adrian Autry, Kadir Copeland, Malik Brown, Judah Mintz, and the others have in store for these two. As we're starting to really get into the heart of the schedule. And let's see. Syracuse is doing pretty good. They're improving. But can we improve enough to get some votes from the NCAA committee? That's what matters. Although some people want to say, hey, they're going to aim for the NIT. No, I want to aim higher. SU hasn't been to the postseason in the last couple of years. It's time to show them that, hey, Adrian Autry's got them aiming for the NCAAs. And let's keep going. And I'm also going to talk about the lacrosse team. Yeah, Gary Gait and the lacrosse team is about ready to start season number 3. Yeah, Gary Gait took his lumps 2 years ago, showing that the talent thing had gone down with Desco the last few years. And it showed how lackadaisical Desco had been in recruiting, why he kind of just coasted. Gate only struggled to a 4-10 season. Last year, he started getting the recruits, and they improved to 8-7. Now, Gate has done a whole great bit of recruiting, has done a lot through the transfer portal. Now let's see. Year 3 is usually when you see what a team's made of. Let's see what one of the guys with his brother who transformed lacrosse has done to get Syracuse back on the map to being one of the elite lacrosse teams in the country. Let's see what happens via Gary and Paul Gate, who I think has his number retired this year. Let's go, Syracuse lacrosse. Last but not least, I'm talking about the Oscars. The nominations were announced this morning, and as expected, Oppenheimer got the most nominations. The thing is, I'm kind of wondering, why did Barbie get nominations? Why would anybody want to just watch something fluffy and frilly as her? You know, there's times I think they ought to come out with something more realistic. Maybe white trash Barbie. You know, that Corvette's up on blocks in the front yard. The dream trailer that they live in. Ken's got a butt. What's for dinner, Barbie? Babe. Fish sticks. Fish sticks? What's it, our anniversary again? Oh, they aren't going to come out with it. Probably not in this lifetime. But congratulations to all the nominees. Good luck. I'm Ken Haas. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.